We're live from Home Alone Plaza.
Jerod, hello.
Oh, hey.
Jerod, where were you during the Olympics that came to Atlanta in 1996?
I, like the devil, went down to Georgia.
Did you attend an Olympic game, an event?
Yes, and that was a reference to that. So some of you may recall Dominique Moceanu of the gymnastics team.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of many songs that she did her routine to. Although I think Carrie Strug got the more lasting impression.
I remember being struck by Dominique Moceanu as well, though.
Honestly, we had two solid Dominiques. How rare is that?
You know, for one city to be able to celebrate two Dominiques at the same time.
In the same building.
Yeah.
Dude, Dominique Dawes.
Wait, who? Who are you talking about?
The two Dominiques on the team.
Oh, there were two Dominiques on the gymnastics team.
There's Dominique Moceanu and Dominique Dawes.
Okay, sorry. I was thinking of Atlanta Hawks basketball legend Dominique Wilkins. My mistake.
Was that 96?
He left Atlanta in 1994.
Ooh.
But he played until 1999, so still on our hearts.
May have even graced our city around that time as a probably welcome guest. Sort of, you know how you have those players from the away team that still get the ovation?
Yeah. He gets to stand up and give a little wave. Welcome back, Wilkins, forever in our hearts.
In baseball, it's a lot easier to mime because they have the hats. I don't know what I would do to pretend like I was a basketball player being welcomed back to my home team.
You put on a hat and then you tip it. They bring in hats for that occasion.
Oh, like the championship.
Yeah, it's like, hey, they're going to do a little thing for you, so here's a hat. They got to do it. Your friend and mine, Joe, we went to a baseball game at the Olympics. My Aunt Jean and Uncle Thomas took me and Joe to see baseball, which at the time was an Olympic sport, which I believe it is no longer an Olympic sport.
But we have skateboarding now.
And we had breakdancing for a minute there. That was fun.
Did you guys see Izzy down there?
No, we didn't see Izzy, but I was fascinated by Izzy as an Olympic mascot. I really thought it was exciting to see a mascot for my city come to life before my eyes and see all the lore get built around him, but also be very aware of him being a deliberate, conscious decision of some people out there. Izzy was a fun mascot.
I think it was well designed, pretty easy to spot. I saw someone dressed up as him at the park, but if I'm honest, I was more interested in something that seems more mundane now, but at the time I was fascinated by, which is the misting machines.
Yes.
Like Coca-Cola Town.
Yeah.
They had, put these things all over the newly existing park.
And you needed them because it was very hot.
Blazing hot. Atlanta in the summer.
Hotlanta, they call it.
No one.
That is true. If you're not...
Who? Who calls it that?
If you're not
Nobody.
From here, nobody calls it Hotlanta.
It's a favorite of nationally touring acts. What's up, Hotlanta?
And then everyone just goes, boo. We don't say that.
But man, that was, I don't know. Again, there is one thing that we've established on this podcast, that you grew up rich, way richer than me. So maybe misting machines were not novel to you. Maybe you had them at home. I don't know. But
I didn't.
Summer of 96, I was like, what is this magic?
We had a small one for the backyard and the front yard. A very modest Coca-Cola mist station. I only bring it up because I can't help but think about 1996 when we get to minute 96 of Home Alone.
I think that's the first place I go to. The second place I go to is the Bulls.
Okay. I often turn to, pretty sure this was 1996, but going to the movie theater and having two options of William Shakespeare's Romeo plus Juliet.
Oh, I thought it was Romeo and Juliet.
And or Space Jam. And we're going to the theater, and those were the two options. And I went with friends, but all my friends were going to see Romeo and Juliet. And I was like, you know what? Space Jam.
I think you used the wrong word there. You called them friends?
Yeah. That was like, what, ninth grade for me? And it was a strange time where many of my peers were gaining independence and experimenting with young adulthood. And I very much was still clinging on to comic books and cartoons and Michael Jordan movies.
I think decades later, our parents would say we're still in a phase and it will pass.
I'll grow out of it eventually. But
they're waiting for this podcast to end. They're like, it's a phase.
Can't they talk
they
about
won't do season 2.
Can't they talk about an R-rated movie? Holy cow. But we made it. We made it to minute 96. We're really counting down. We're towards the end of this thing, Jerod. How does that feel to near the end?
There's an internet saying, I think, that goes, feels bad, man.
Yeah.
As a hoarder of experiences, I can't bring myself to throw this one away.
I admitted to you the other day that we've kind of slowed down our recording schedule. And I think part of it is this subconscious reluctance to let go. And that if we just sort of skip a week here and there, although we have viable excuses to do so, part of it is just, it won't end if we never record the last minute. So maybe we'll never get to the end. Maybe we'll always just leave it lingering, the cranberries.
But we do have a duty to not just ourselves, but the listener and to Kevin.
Yeah, most of all, Kevin.
He needs to get back to his life.
We are obligated to release him from the clutches of this podcast. We've had him wrapped around our fingers, just trying to get as many lines from The Cranberries Linger into this podcast as possible.
If you have to.
It's like this big fish that we caught, and we won't let go until we're done talking about it exhaustively. Meanwhile, he's like, dead fish eyes are getting drier and drier by the second. And he's fading from us. We got to get him back on the water, but we still got to take some pictures. And can I tell you what happens in minute 96?
Well, I was just going to ask. It's been so long since we recorded an episode. I don't really know how this works. Do you do a summary of the minute last week or
last week on Home Alone?
Yeah. Go ahead and summarize. I mean, I'll pick a random number here. Minute 96.
Kate's just come home. She calls out for Kevin. Kevin's upstairs holding the family portrait, sadly. Kate comes in. She's looking around, doesn't see him. She stops at what I'm calling the Christmas room and notices all the Christmas decorating that Kevin has done, and she's touched by it. And then Kevin comes downstairs, and Kevin kind of he lingers. And it's kind of tough to read his emotions. We're not quite sure if he's angry with his mom, and she apologizes, but then he just can't hold it back anymore. He smiles, and they give a big old hug. And that's when our minute's over.
Wow. Even after all that time away, it's like riding a bike. You just stepped right back into it. Great summary.
Hey, thanks, Jerod.
I'm such a fool for you. I thought the world of you. If I can start with a dovetail from last minute, because we get, I believe, the second of her Kevins in this one.
Yeah.
What we didn't touch on the previous one, and can still kind of be true for this one, but is more so true for the first one. The way she says Kevin sounds like the way you hear Susan in Miracle on 34th Street, another great Christmas film.
Yeah, featured in Home Alone.
Because when she goes, Kevin, the melody of it is very similar to Susan. Do yourself a favor, go find that minute. And I can't help but notice the similarities between the mothers and their relationship to what we would say is the more practical, unimaginative side of things.
Well, to working women who maybe feel torn between their duties as a mother and their duties towards their career or getting to the airport on time. And part of it is a losing sight of what's really importantness to it all that by the end here has been resolved. Right.
Whose story is it? The child or the parent or the old man?
Well,
which movie am I talking about?
It could be one of two. It could be two different movies. That question, though, is what I love so much about this minute, is that this is the completion of both of their journeys. We get a coming home for Kate, which equals a coming home for Kevin. Home is where your mommy is.
Right.
So what we have here, Aristotle would call it catharsis.
What would you call it?
Catharsis. I'm no Aristotle, I just happen to agree. But it's an emotional cleansing that is both the relief of seeing them home, but also a reminder of what we've all felt before, which is the feeling of joy when your loved one returns.
Right. She's not home until they embrace. She has crossed the threshold of the building.
Yes. But the music doesn't swell with joy until they hug for a reason, because that's the moment.
Prior to that moment, it's worth calling out that we get some great blocking. I'll call it even two pieces here. One is, I think, the more obvious one, which is, she notices what you called out to be the formal living room, I think, and naturally steps into it so that he can just slide past her and not see her in that doorway to set up the turnaround, which feels not at all forced. So
yeah.
Great blocking there.
It also, that sets us up for the emotional release, that catharsis, because we just saw Kevin get disappointed that his family isn't there. So we're ready to repeat that beat, but then his mom's standing behind him and we're ready for that reunion too. It's such a relief for us as the audience that we're going to see them reunite again. And there's a little bit of suspense because they were fighting the last time that they spoke to each other. So what is this reunion really going to look like? We have a good feeling about it, but there's still that moment.
So prior to that moment, though, we have, and I don't even know if I'd call this blocking, actually. I guess it would be more like stage direction, but we get what does not feel at all like a forced metaphor when she sets her bag down.
Yep.
As part of the steps to come home, she has quite literally set her burdens down and opened herself up to him and for him.
When they left, she was picking up luggage to leave him, and now she's setting it down to embrace him.
Which brings us to that moment, like you say, that we're not entirely sure about. Because if you could describe Kevin's first, let's say, fully formed facial expression, right? So she sets down her bag. She says, "Merry Christmas, sweetheart," which is her invitation to... We're good, right? That first face he lands on, how would you describe it in a word? Because I have some thoughts here.
I don't know if I can go one word. Apologies. But
How would you describe it in one podcast?
He's mulling over the possibility of anger. He's toying with the idea of maybe I'm still angry here. And he's testing it out and deciding if that's the way he wants to go. How would you describe it?
I don't know if it's the expression that I'm supposed to see, but the one that I see is unimpressed.
I think it's viable.
Full Shania. It's like, that don't impress me much.
Because he's been through so much to get to this point, and he's not quite sure if she's reciprocated or she needs to reciprocate. That's her first name, Recipro.
Well, it's like a title. It's like doctor.
Yeah. Oh, Reciprocate McAllister?
It's someone who has a doctorate degree in reciprocation.
Kate McAllister, comma, Recipro.
On certain forums, people are like, "Oh, are you a reverend?" And she's like, "No, that's the short form. They share the same."
But yeah, there's a little bit of disappointment in his first look. And that's in the script. Like, John Hughes has that anger washing through him kind of sensation in the script that I think Macaulay Culkin nails really well here.
Well, for the fellow dum-dums, we have to remember he hasn't seen the journey she's been on.
Well, yeah, and that's why I'm entertaining the possibility that that's what he's mad about, that he doesn't know what she's been through. And then maybe there's this sort of mystical bond between them that lets him in on the idea that, like, she probably went through a lot to get back to him here. I would buy that.
Which is more heartwarming, though, that he had the magical connection and intuition that she went through a lot, and therefore we are okay to reunite, or I don't care because you are my mommy.
Then that's what I think it is. I think that's the smile, because to me, it reads as a involuntary smile. He can't help but to give in to this feeling of my mom's back. He can try to be tough. He can try to be like old Kevin as much as he wants to and put that wall right back up if he feels like it. He could really lay into his mom here, and he would be justified in doing so. She even says, I'm so sorry, thinking that he's mad at her because he has every reason to be. But his mommy's home. And like you said, it doesn't matter what happened before.
Right. I'd rather it be that he perceives it as her going through not much, but it doesn't matter because that's my mother. The morph to the grin is bordering on masterpiece.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think you nailed it when you described it as, did you say involuntary? I think that is exactly right. He makes it feel so natural that it would be bursting through. And that's such a childlike thing in other different contexts where like they're kind of in trouble, but they're kind of not. And they like smile at you. Like it's very reminiscent of that smile that eats through.
And again, if we think about where they left each other, it was both of them building up that wall and saying, I don't need you either, I don't want you around. And we do that with the people that we love until we make a choice to knock that all down and just smile because your mom's there. It really is this cathartic experience. Aristotle's got this thing about how like we get to experience emotions that we've gone through before and maybe repressed, and theater and literature let us do it in a safe way. And we can even become better people because we release those emotions and we learn how to process them better through art. So whether you're a mom or a child of the situation, you're watching this and relating to it, because Kate's really just played a really long game of peekaboo.
Whoa.
I'm not here anymore. You're in danger. You miss me. Oops, peekaboo, here I am. And the joy of your parents' return. We've all felt that. We've all gone through that roller coaster of emotions as a kid. So we're returning to that when we see this moment. It's a great movie. Here we are. So good.
So those emotions just take longer to process as you age. So she says peekaboo / Merry Christmas, sweetheart. And instead of the baby infant version of, oh, I'm scared. Oh, it's good. We get the slightly more prolonged, more mature, but more compounded emotionally Kevin, who even in just 8 short years has developed more to work through. So she has to do sort of a follow-up peekaboo of, I just want to clarify, that wasn't just boo. It was peek-a-boo.
I mean, if you're a little kid and your parent covers up their eyes and they never give you the peekaboo, you're going to start freaking out. You're going to go through some stuff. I made my family disappear.
So I think we've just realized that in every baby's head, when you play peekaboo, they say, I made my family disappear.
That's exactly what's happening in peekaboo. We are toying with the idea of we might not always be around.
That's not true. We're all going to live forever.
Maybe. I don't really want to know.
Do you have to?
Can I share a brief cranberries related bit of embarrassment from my life recently?
Ocean spray?
No, cran grape juice is a point of joy in my life that I only indulge in on occasion. A lot of sugar. I teach 12th graders, and we're doing this unit on short texts that have some sort of like post-colonial lens we can apply to them, things like that. And the 12th grade teachers on my team and I have been kind of dividing and conquering, like, hey, you take this text, come up with a lesson for it. I'll take this text, come up with a lesson for it. I didn't build out the whole curriculum, but I got assigned to do a lesson on protest songs. And those were the instructions. It said like protest songs, and it said redemption song and zombie. I'm like, okay, cool. I know Redemption Song by Bob Marley, and I know Zombie by the Cranberries. Let me slap together like some historical context, some analysis questions, some activities that the kids can do, some compare and contrast. I'll play them the music video from Zombie by the Cranberries, and we can analyze some symbolism going on there. Presentation on the IRA and the bombings that they're alluding to that inspired the lyrics to the song, all that stuff. They seem to enjoy it. They're entertained by Zombie by the Cranberries. And then I move on with the rest of the unit. And a little bit later, I see I'm digging deeper down into the paperwork, and I was supposed to do a lesson on a different song called Zombie. I wasn't supposed to do the Cranberries song.
Wait a second. A different protest song. Is it also, so it's the same, is that song also the same old theme since 1916?
It's also a protest song. It's by Fela Kuti. Maybe I'm mispronouncing the name, but it's from 1976. And forgive me, I just don't know Nigerian Afrobeat musician Fela Kuti. I just leaped to the only zombie protest song that I knew.
Have you since listened to this other one? I
haven't yet, but I'll revisit. Like, it's kind of... I sent an email to the team apologizing, but I've already done the lesson. I would feel it's dumb to just back up and start all over again because I really think my lesson worked. I just happened to pick the wrong zombie.
Task failed successfully.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the smartest dumb guy you know.
So whoever you emailed who's on that committee and has come up with that, they've probably come to the same conclusion you have, that like it all works out. But in your head, they're still fighting.